Welcome to Not From Here, a podcast dedicated to past versions of ourselves
and the current versions of all of you. We are your co-hosts. I'm Riley Klauza.
And I am Isa Rodriguez. And we are just a couple of Michiganders turned New Yorkers trying to get a grip.
Have you ever been made fun of for the way you say things or thought, damn, I never even realized I had an accent?
Well, we have too, because we're definitely
not from here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi.
Hey!
How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you today?
Oh, I'm just dandy. Actually, it's so gorgeous outside. I'm into it.
It really is. We're ending February.
Soon. No, yeah, thank God. No, it really, the sun being out today has brought my mood up. I put away the puffer today, not for good, but like
The super puffer?
the super puff.
Oh, no.
No, she's not gone for good, I fear, but I did pull out my trench coat today, so it's a good day.
You wore your trench, did you?
I did. You walked here with me.
I did.
We did the thing.
I like her trench. It's very cute. It's green. I love green. You're wearing green.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you, green.
Observational today. You guys are in a weird mood today.
We are. I worked before this, so, it's like,
Tell them what happened at work today.
oh my God, it was so fun. I worked 7.5 hours without taking a break, which like technically literally nobody cares, but like technically that's
Tough.
illegal.
I would be pissed personally.
But it was literally my own fault because I
How?
didn't take a break when I should have, because I was like, oh, I want to take it later because then my break feels like it's
Isa,
like almost over.
Sorry to say, I think you did do that to yourself.
I did do it to myself. No, I'm telling you the truth. And then work just got so busy, and then I just had to be like, okay, whatever. But I had to wake up at 5 a.m. So basically,
it was just tough.
and
yeah.
we drank last night, and so I was feeling whoa this morning. But
Yeah.
we figured it out, and
we're here.
we're here. What did you get up to today?
Literally nothing. I got a massage.
Okay,
No one cares.
I do.
You're
I
like,
swear.
I do. No, I took my dog out at like 6 a.m. I slept in and then I took her out again and I got a massage and then I took a shower and I'm here.
Yeah,
That's it. And I am feeling Sunday scaries. Unfortunately, we talked about it on the way here.
yeah.
I just had so many. You know what's hard about weekends? Let me tell you. I go
hear it.
into the weekend with so many expectations set that I'm going to, it's always clean my room. I feel like every time I come on the podcast, it's always number one thing on my list is clean my room.
your room.
And it's like, I promise I do clean it. It's not always messy. Anyway. But cleaning my room, I have so many self-tapes I need to film. Not for anything in particular, but there's just a lot of new rep I've been working on that I'm like, oh, I should get this on tape.
Yeah.
I wanted to get my nails done. I need to go grocery shopping. I need to give my dog a bath, stupid stuff. But I set all these expectations, but then the weekend hits and I'm so exhausted from the work week that I'm like, I just need to relax. I need to rot. And so I don't get anything done. So then today is the day where it all hit me. And I was like, I haven't accomplished a single thing that I was on my to-do list. So that's a tonight problem.
You're not alone in that. We've talked about it a million times. Sometimes you just don't get as productive as you want to be, but it's because you have to rest. And hopefully you did rest a little.
I did. Maybe a little too much.
Okay, heard. Well,
but tonight, I'm really going to try to finish off strong.
yeah. It's still
Giving
early.
Bailey a bath is the number one.
Bailey, you heard it here first. You're going to get a bath.
And she's going to be pissed.
And she's going to be pissed.
But it's fine. Anyway, why are we here today?
Well, thank you for asking. We are here because we had to record an episode. It was that time of the week. But also because it is our 2-year anniversary.
Yay!
That's crazy.
Surprise. Were you keeping track? Because we were.
Because we were. It has been 2 years. To this day, actually.
God, yeah.
Lots happened in 2 years.
Thinking back to 2 years ago today, so much has happened.
I know.
I'm speechless currently. I know I came here to sit here and talk about the past 2 years, but I don't know what to say.
Words fail me right now. Evan Hansen said it best. Words do fail. And I Agree. Like thinking about also it's such a stupid thing to hyper focus on, but like
What?
thinking about like what I wore to film the podcast the first time.
Same.
I was like, I'm wearing my Detroit
What'd you wear?
t-shirt.
What'd you wear? Oh, you did.
Because I was like,
That's
it's
cute.
Yeah, but it's like a little like on the nose. You know, I was like, no.
Well, I wore like a black button down and I looked like a server. So
When I first moved to New York, well, I'm still trying to figure out my style. I don't know how you feel, but like there's something that is such a transplant feeling is like walking around New York and being like, I worked so hard on my outfit today, but somehow I just
so
look
bad.
like I don't belong here. Like
No,
I
me too.
look like I got off an airplane from like a small town.
Yes. No, I've definitely talked about this before. Like Midwest fashion compared to New York you guys.
Different.
A moment of silence,
A
honestly.
moment of silence.
The clothes I came here wearing and like that I moved here and I was so confident in and felt so comfortable in.
Yeah.
And then realizing so quickly that like, oh, this is not what we do. This is not what we wear. This is not what we do. I'm giving American Eagle.
I'm giving.
And why
Yeah.
was I giving American Eagle? Because that's what I was wearing.
You're like,
Which,
because-
no hate to American Eagle. I was a manager there. Please. I love American Eagle. But it just wasn't the vibe. And so yeah, 2 years ago, that outfit was
It was silly.
It was rough. It was rough. But what have we learned in the 2 years?
Oh my God, so many things. I mean, for one, we've evolved styles, thank God. I'm like, we're doing
check.
better there, check. But I mean, definitely like a lot of like bigger picture things.
Mhm.
I also feel like, I mean, when we started the podcast, how long had you been in New York?
I had just hit a year. No, yeah. No, isn't that crazy?
Oh my God, 2023 was 2 years ago.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Ooh, that's so long ago.
No, yeah, because I moved here in January of 2022.
That is
So,
wild.
yeah, just over a
It's
year.
crazy how baby we still felt. And like,
Mhm.
I still feel like we were. Like, looking back, I'm like, wow, I didn't know anything. But I had been here for like a year and a half.
Yeah, and then we made a podcast and we're like, let us tell you everything.
Yeah, we really did like
Bold.
the first couple of episodes were really like confessionals too.
They were.
Like
we really put it
episode
all
number
out.
2, we were like mental health
We
issues.
were like, here are all our problems.
I'm pretty sure I told you like what medication I take. Like, what was
did.
that about? Yeah, I'm like really on the highest dosage of Prozac. You really need to know that. Not anymore though.
Hey. Oh.
I don't know. What's something you feel like you've taken away specifically from doing the podcast?
From the podcast. Well, from like a technical point of view, I feel like there's been so many eras of the podcast.
Yes.
And the spaces we've recorded in and the mics we've used and God, we still haven't figured it out.
This
like
is the year we get better at home.
No,
mics.
so true. You guys aren't ready.
Sorry to our listeners at home who really listen to those episodes that we record at
They
home.
suck. Sorry. Being real. No, but just like it's interesting to listen back to, I said this recently, but like also like our editing style.
Yeah.
Like I listened to an episode, I think it was like episode like 6 or 7, and the editing was so bad. It was so bad. But in the moment, I was so proud of editing
were like,
that
yes.
one episode. I was like, yes, I did this. But yeah, I think there's so much that going into it, I did not expect, especially on a technical like side. Like, yes, like I knew I was recording a podcast. Obviously, that's a technical thing. But when it comes to like the mics, the cameras we use, the studios we use, how long it takes to edit, how to edit, what kind of music we want, like what kind of vibe, I didn't expect that going into it. And I still, like I said, it's still figuring it out to this day. I don't know when we'll figure it out.
I think that's such a good testament though to like, because, okay, bear with me. I feel like in life, when you like learn something or are actively learning how to do something or getting better at something, you don't see that progress. You just look back a couple years later and you're like, wow, I'm so much better at that than I was when I started.
Yeah. But I
feel
don't
like
go. Sorry.
No,
I'm
we're like, but I feel like the podcast specifically is such a tangible way of being like, this is how we used to think and like do things and like talk about things and think things. And now like we're so much better at certain things.
And I can't tell you that moment where that switched. Like I cannot pinpoint like this is when I got better at editing. This is when I got better at whatever, but it just happened naturally.
Yeah.
And I think, as you were saying, I think that goes to a testament with anything you do in life, like with time and practice, it gets better.
It evolves.
Yeah.
We've leveled up,
Not
I would
saying
say.
we're like the best ever.
No, oh my God, no. You guys know
Please.
us. You know we're not saying
Please.
that. No, it's such an interesting thing. I love reflecting. One thing about me, I love taking a look back on things. And so I love like an anniversary because I'm always like, oh, like look at how much, like how far we've come.
I know.
But I feel like even I feel like we've talked a lot about our guests and like the people that we've had on, but I feel like that has been such a monumental part of the podcast for me. Like I feel like we started out the podcast thinking we were going to sit down every day and just like,
and it was just going to be
us.
Yeah.
And you know, nothing wrong with that. I love a good podcast where it's just like the hosts, but I also have loved interviewing people.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that like interviewing was a skill that we possessed and
That was so true.
have been refining. But
Like, why does that get me in the mood? I'm like, I'm going to have a talk show one day.
no, I'm like,
That was never
new
on. That
Kelly
was
Clarkson?
never- yeah. Like, I was like, that was never the plan. But I'm like, oh, like, that would be fun.
which can we just take a few moments to talk about the Kelly Clarkson show?
I've never watched it personally.
Me either.
Oh, so why are we talking
Because
about it? What's the issue?
format of that show
What's the
is
format?
so well, okay. Okay, so she uses it like a talk show, but then she also like performs.
Oh.
Like she just like will do like
oh, shit. That's what I'm trying to do.
covers of things, which is so like theater kid coded.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm gonna interview people and have a talk show because I love to talk. And then
then-
also I'm gonna do karaoke. Like it just comes up on my TikTok all the time. It's like Kellyoke. She does like covers of like every single thing that you could possibly
Wait,
think
I'm
of.
into that.
Yeah, so I feel like it's the best of both worlds because she's a singer, but then she's obviously this massive personality.
You guys just wait. One day we'll sing on the pod and you're not ready.
No, please. Not to expose my dad, but my dad's always like, when are you guys going to do a duet? And I'm like,
Imagine us like sitting in studio.
we should sing For Good. I have been
Oh,
changed
that's a choice.
for good.
You're in a wicked mood.
Always.
But anyway, okay, so you love to reflect.
I love to reflect. Fact about me. I love reflecting on the podcast. And it's also interesting how before the podcast, like people would talk to you about things, but now like people come up to you and they're like, how's the podcast
It's always
going?
about the podcast.
And sometimes I'm like, oh
God.
You know, I'm like, oh, it's still going. Like, do
Or
you
they'll
want to
bring up stuff you said on the podcast.
And you're
this
like-
happened to us in real life.
wait, when?
When I'm not going to say a name, but when someone asked you if you gotten a therapist yet.
Oh, so true.
And you guys, she did.
Wait, should I update that?
Yes.
You guys, okay.
This is a huge step from even our episode in January.
So true.
That's when you set the goal.
When I was okay, so this episode specifically, I was like on camera. You can literally go online and see me. Like
she hates this episode.
I do. I have like no makeup on. I'm wearing like all black. Like my dark circles are like poking out through the camera, and I'm like, I need a therapist so bad.
You
Like,
can
I'm
see.
not okay.
She's not well.
And somebody, I was like at a party,
We were-
and
yeah, at a
somebody
birthday
was
party.
like, did you get a therapist yet? And I was like,
Why do you know that?
it's really not that funny, but it is kind of funny.
No, it is because I personally forget half the shit I say on here. And it's not until someone brings it up in my life and I'm like, how do you know that?
You're like, what?
When did I, how, who? And then I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't shut my fucking mouth and I just ramble for an hour straight and I edit it and I literally forget. Like once it's published, I'm like, who
Oh
knows
my
what that was
God.
about?
There's like a version of me now that kind of cringes when I think about, sorry, changing topics. Actually, let me put a pin in what I was about to say. Going back to
Go
the
back.
therapist. You guys, I got a therapist and I did my first session yesterday. I feel like a new woman, genuinely. Like,
It was like the intro session too.
and I like can't stop talking about it.
No,
I feel like
so proud of you.
Thank you. It was a lot of work.
It was a journey.
People
to get
also
there.
don't talk about, like, you could literally be at your very lowest as a human being And you have to like sit at your laptop and Google like therapists in my area under my insurance to help with like depression, anxiety, feelings of loneliness and loss. Like you sit there and you feel worse about yourself as you're like actively looking.
Symptom.
Like,
yeah,
it's hard. And sometimes you, like you're even saying like, I'm going to do it on my weekend, right? Like when my first day off work, I'm going to look for a therapist. And then it's like, I wake up on my day off and I'm like, I'm not going to think about all of the things that are bothering me.
Last thing I want to do. Yeah.
But I pushed through. The demons have been silenced for now. And I'm back in therapy. So it's actually over for you, hoes. Just wait.
Oh, I know I keep saying it. I'm just really proud of you.
Thank you.
It's been such a journey.
It really has.
To get here.
It's been pretty much all of the podcast, all the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Episode 2, I was like, I really should get a therapist.
And here we are about to hit 75.
But that just goes to show, if it'll eventually happen. Just don't give up. But there's a time for everything. The time will come when it's right, and it lined up. And I feel like this is a really good fit for me, a really good time for me to be doing this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of other things in my life have kind of like come to a head where I'm like, I need to deal with this immediately. Like I need to process emotions, need to deal with my feelings, need to stop projecting. And there was a time before where I was like, I'm not thinking like that. I was like, I'll deal with it later. Mm-hmm. And it's later and we're dealing with it.
Do you have any favorite episodes that we've done?
Ooh.
Not to put you on the spot.
I definitely do.
Okay.
But I feel like this might be kind of a loaded question because some of them are with guests.
Yeah, so true. Okay.
Am I ready to reveal?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I feel like I'm ready to reveal.
Okay.
I think one of the episodes that I think back to a lot, I think also like when I'm picking a favorite, I'm like, how did I feel in that moment? Like, how did I leave the studio feeling after we kind of talked about things? And like, how do I feel like the content that we created, like, what is it actually going to like benefit somebody and like help somebody? I love our interview episodes, but I do feel like our episode with Hannah Kevitt.
Yep. That was one of mine.
Who you guys have hopefully watched by now. And
no, we have to tell them.
also so full circle because we just,
Yes.
Okay, so I'm like, so last night we went to go see Maybe Happy Ending again. It was both of our second times seeing the show. And why did we go see it again?
Because Hannah Kevitt, who we just mentioned, was on for Claire.
She was. And you guys, like, obviously she's a cover on Broadway. Like,
of course she's got
talent oozing out of her. But holy shit.
Holy shit.
She
was incredible.
No, like, so good.
Oh.
So that's one of my favorite episodes, I think, or at least from this like recent season.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I really liked the way that she kind of like made me feel, which is a very like selfish kind of outcome from that. But going into the studio that day, I had come from work.
God, I completely forgot about that.
And I had been having like a horrible day. And it was like my first time meeting this guest, this girl. And she also like, she's on Broadway. So I was like, oh my God, like, And I just remember like the episode felt so like grounded. She had so many like inspirational stories and like things that she had like conquered herself and things she had worked through. And like her story was so inspirational. And I just remember leaving that and feeling like, I feel like that's like why I wanted to do that podcast. It's like I started it because I wanted to come out of it feeling like there is hope in our industry for things. And a lot of our episodes feel that way. But that one in particular, I was like...
We literally took a moment to take like some breaths. Because we were it was such
scatterbrained,
Yeah, chaotic energy. And Hannah's like, let's just take a moment. Like real quick, like let's do some exercises.
Yeah.
Queen.
What about you? Do you have any favorite episodes?
Oh, you know I do. Okay, most recently, I really loved our episode with Brianna. I know that just happened, so like some people might be like, "What are you talking about?" That episode just, like no offense to any of our other guests, truly, no offense, but I don't know. I feel like we hit so many topics in that conversation that we don't typically talk about and that are such important conversations that need to be had. And so and just like as an interviewer in that moment, that was an episode where I felt like very fulfilled. And I was like, I'm really proud of how I talked.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
like
silly to say, but
no,
like,
but like helped that conversation like along.
yeah, and I just like, and it was so fulfilling. And hearing Brianna's journey, she's so inspirational and so fucking wise. Like, it really is moments like that where I'm talking to people who are like, what I love about this podcast is sitting down, not only with guests, but with you as well, and having these moments of like inspiration and like reminders of like, this is why we do it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the whole reason we started the podcast in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love that episode. But I mean, trust me, there's not an episode I hate.
No.
Except
What?
there's a few, but it's not with any guest.
Also, the one episode, could not tell you the name. Actually, maybe it is. It's
What is
Brick. But where we like talked about the phrase like it's brick and how that means it's cold in New York.
Yeah.
I did
Baby,
really
it's brick outside. That's what it's called.
Baby, it's brick outside. That was the episode name. One of the reasons I really liked that one too is because it felt like one of those moments where we were like, wait, like we're New Yorkers. Like when I moved here, I was like, a brick? What the fuck does that mean?
No,
But
it was just so silly.
now I'm like, yeah, guys, it's brick outside. And I'm like, New Yorker. You know? We were looking at some questions.
Yeah.
I want to say this was like early on in our
It
episodes.
was like a year ago. It was an episode we like recorded on my couch.
We were talking about what makes you a New Yorker and after how much time can you consider yourself a New Yorker? Now, different answers everywhere, but people say that after 10 years, you can finally call yourself a New Yorker, which is like, okay.
That's
we've
a long
still got a long way to go. So the list that we used last time, it was a Time Out article and it's like 51 ways that you know that you're a New Yorker. And I can't remember off the top of my head which ones we like decided.
We picked like random ones.
So I think we'll do the same and we'll just pick some random ones and kind of see how we feel about it. So now at this point, okay, we told you our New York credits when we started the podcast. Now we're 2 years in. How long have we been here? Let's remind the class.
I moved here January of 2022. So if you do the math, that's a little over 3 years.
Nice.
God.
No, I feel kind of crazy. Like August is 4 years for me.
Isa, you're almost at the big 5. You're almost halfway to that
I'm
New
almost
Yorker
halfway
title.
there. Oh my God. Can we also, this is so different, but just like college being that far away is terrifying.
No, that really
May and December is 4 years out of college. Great. Anyway.
we could have gone through college one more time since then.
Talk about grad school. People really be doing that. Could not be me. Okay. First one.
I'm ready.
This one is a given for both of us, but you'd ballpark or actually, let me ask you the question instead of just assuming.
Interview me, please.
Okay. In New York, what's your ballpark for a cocktail?
$20.
Okay. It says here, according to Time Out, that a reasonable price is about $18 for a New Yorker.
What would you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, definitely
I'm like,
$18
me and
to
Issa
$20.
got wine last night, and the one glass of wine was $21. Did I get 3? Of course I did. I'm sorry. It was a tough
You
day.
know what we never talked about? Sorry, so many different thoughts going on.
What?
How last night you totally spilled your wine at the table and no one in the restaurant saw.
No one noticed.
And it was kind of like, it was like the glass didn't break.
It was a big fall. Like, no, I kind of forgot about that. No, I just bumped my glass and there wasn't much left in it, but it fully like tipped the wine like on the floor. But no one noticed. We were so swift about it. We were like, and
just, we really fixed that up.
Thank you for reminding me.
Question number 2.
I'm ready.
If you're walking, you're like crossing an avenue.
An avenue, okay.
Yes. And the walk sign is on. It's your turn. You're not like, running in front of cars. Do you use the crosswalk or do you jaywalk?
Jaywalk.
Always.
Well, it
right?
depends where I'm standing. Like if I'm at the curb, like if I'm at the corner, like where the crosswalk is.
Let's say like you're just walking down the sidewalk and you see that walk sign turn on.
Oh yeah, I'm jaywalking.
Like you're
immediately.
jaywalking. Yeah, you don't get to the crosswalk.
Corner. No, I'm not.
No.
Like if that little white man is standing there, like I'm gonna go.
He's like
on the move.
Oh my God. My
Okay.
senior year of college, I did a voiceover for like my college, and the opening sequence for the voiceover was what our like walk. You know how like when you press like walk, it's like walk. Yeah, so I like did that and like imitated our sign. Okay, wait, let me give you a rendition of what it sounded like.
I'm ready.
Oh, wait, fuck. Is it walk? Wait. wait,
Yes.
farm lane, walk sign. That's what it
Was
would
that
sound
like the name of a street or something?
Yeah,
Farm lane?
farm lane.
Oh.
But it would be like farm
Wait.
lane, walk sign.
Oh. You did that?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can find it on YouTube. It was during the pandemic. So
Voiceover credits.
Yeah.
Over here.
my like 2.
Please.
No one forget about Coco Melon. Okay. Are you feeling like you want to ask me any?
Yeah,
if you get
can I see the
inspired, if you get inspired, feel free.
Okay. This isn't really like a question,
I'm ready.
but I'm just going to read you this statement. And I want to know if true or false.
True or false? Okay, heard.
You hate bikers when you're walking, cars when you're biking, and pedestrians when you're driving.
Yes.
True.
That I do love that because like when you're walking, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I'm a pedestrian. Like you could kill me. Please.
Yeah,
give me
like I have the right of
the
way.
right of way. But then you're in a car and you're like, these
Move the
stupid
fuck
fucking.
out of the way.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh my God. And driving your car in
The
like you
city.
drive here sometimes.
I do. I do
That's
have a
wild.
car, everyone. Okay, I have a story about this, and I know we said this one last time, but I hate to bring it up.
No, bring it up.
You
I'm scared.
lost more than one AirPod down a subway grate. No, I'm sorry to bring that up. I know that's a sensitive topic, but I have a story.
Oh.
Not about me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm perfect. No, it was last weekend. I'm walking down 2nd Avenue. I'm heading to the queue with my dad and Chris and my sister.
Okay.
We're like heading to the subway, and there's a man just like walking down the street, and he like was pulling out his AirPods, and he had like the case. He got one out, put it in one ear, got the other one, and it dropped, and right in front of us, like we're standing right next to him. It does bounce, bounce right into the grate. And it literally, but he was so unbothered. Like the way I stood there, jaw on the floor, like, I can't believe I just witnessed that. And he didn't even blink. Like he just like shut his AirPod case, kept moving. And I was like, I don't think I'll ever be that type of New Yorker. I don't know what that is.
I could never be that relaxed.
Like he was so like, whatever. And I literally was like standing over the grate, peeking in. I was like, no one's concerned.
You're like, no one's going to fish down there for
No
it?
one's concerned but me.
Dude, that's happened to me twice.
I know it's happened to you too.
Well, actually, only one time in the subway, but it was one of those moments where it's like I was putting it in and it
bounce.
fell out, bounced from the corner into like the track. And I was like, well,
Why didn't you jump down there?
No, somebody was like, oh my God, are you going to go? And I was like,
No.
I'm sorry. Absolutely not. Do you want to go for me though? Yeah, train's coming in 2 minutes, but yeah, let me jump down there. No, thank you. But then the other one is actually worse. This one has nothing to do with New York. I say this all the time at work, and I think about this. I probably shouldn't say this in front of people, but if my head was not attached to my body, I would lose it. And I got AirPods, and the next day, I lost them. Where did they go? Dude,
Are they still gone?
it
to
is
this day?
a mystery to this day. I ordered them. They were delivered in the mail.
Like you open them up.
I opened them.
You got
I
them.
wore them to work, went to leave work, no longer had the AirPods.
Someone must have stole them.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm like, where else?
I know. God, so many beautiful New York horror stories. In the moment, they're so horrific, but afterwards, they're so funny to think about.
I have a story.
Tell me.
That we realized we didn't talk about
We never did.
on the way here. So you guys, I don't know if you saw our story. This was like a month ago.
Yeah.
And it was a picture of me in a taxi.
It
What?
was after we recorded where I was crashing out.
Yes.
Yes, that one.
That episode where Issa said she needed a therapist.
That one specifically.
So after that episode, obviously we're crashing out. We go get a drink. It's 11 a.m. We're like the only
It was
people
like-
at the bar.
It was like noon on a Friday, and we were like in Midtown, and I was like, well, I could use a drink.
I could use a drink. So we go get a drink. We're having a silly time. We get a little drunk, whatever. We're leaving. And so, and it's like, do I take the train or do I go home? So this is pre me having a dog. So I didn't need to go let out the dog. It was just a weird time. And I'm like, you know what, Issa, I'm going to take a subway, please. I'm going to take a taxi up with you to the Upper East Side. So I wish you guys could have been there. I really wish you could have.
No, it is such a visual moment.
So imagine a street, okay? There's the sidewalk, there's the bike lane, and then there's the actual street where cars are driving. So Issa is on sidewalk.
Yes.
I walk off the sidewalk, I cross over the bike lane, and I'm standing like kind of on the street, low-key, like trying to like hail a taxi.
Hail a taxi.
As one does. So then I did he pull over? No, he didn't pull over. No one, I'm not getting anyone. I'm having bad luck. And so I go to turn. To like step back over the bike lane to the sidewalk where Isa is standing. Right as I'm turning, I hear Isa scream, "Rye!" And then blackout. No.
And then there was nothing.
No.
I
screamed. I know
she
I
got
screamed.
fucking sideswiped by a Lime scooter. And this dude was going so fast.
So fucking
Like when I tell you I
was
watched
sore.
this
I
man.
was sore for a few days after.
I'm not surprised. You landed on your ass in the middle of the street.
He hit me so hard.
So hard. Like this man flies off his Lime scooter on the floor. Lime scooter on the floor. It is a Lime scooter, right?
Yes.
Is that the right one?
Yes. Yeah. They have different names.
Like
Lime,
bird.
Like it depends on the day.
Right.
But no, yeah.
And then-
Imagine like an electric scooter.
Riley
But
also
it's going fast.
we forgot a detail. Riley hit up Starbucks before
Of course
the episode, and it followed into the bar, and so she's holding a venti
Venti strawberry acai. Lemonade, no berries.
no berries, hold the inclusions, and so the pink drink is like in the air, like just hits the street. Riley's on the floor, and I'm standing
I'm screaming
perfectly
at the top
fine.
of my lungs. Also, like the scream,
The
like,
people,
it
the
was
tourists.
so dramatic. It was like I wish I could do it.
The tourists looking around, and they're like, "Oh, there
Everyone
goes
stopped.
someone. She's down." And it was just truly one of those moments where I was like, and then like the driver,
the guy.
what am I doing? Like, instead of being like, "Riley, let me help you up," I like go to the driver and I'm like, "Oh my God, like, are you okay?" Like, he's like, "Ma'am, like your drink, I'll buy you another."
He's like, "What's your cash app? What's your cash app?" And
And
Issa's like, "Get out of here!"
I was like, just go, just get out. And then, Riley made it and we were okay and it was
I
okay.
survived.
But yeah,
But that's just like one of those moments today that I was
Stay out of the
thinking
bike
about.
lane.
Stay out of the fucking bike lane, first of all.
That's
but
your
also
first tip.
like really anyone can drive those scooters. And that is a problem, I think.
that is a problem. This also reminds me, now this didn't happen to me, but I observed this happening to somebody else. And this is one of the stories that I like to think back on frequently. But I want to say it was like, it was like my first year here. And my boyfriend and I celebrated Valentine's Day. And we did this, I think, because we lived with roommates at the time. So we like booked like Valentine's Day at like a hotel and we stayed there for like a night, right? And it was in the Lower East Side at the time, which was like so bougie to me because I lived in Brooklyn. Now I'm like, I literally live on the East Side, which is so funny to think about. But we were like walking to the hotel and I'm not kidding you. I see a girl our age, our build, like very average looking girl.
Could have been me.
Could have been you. And here's why. Holding a venti Starbucks drink. And some man, I don't want to assume, but he was giving a little cuckoo and he just walks right up to this girl, fucking fist out, and just punches her drink out of her hand. Just like fucking like punched the shit out of that drink, goes everywhere. The girl starts screaming at him. And I remember just watching that and I was like, oh, it really be like that out here. Like somebody could just punch your belongings out of your hand.
You told me this story and I genuinely think about it all the time.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that
what
could
if?
be-
What if?
Imagine getting
it's not
your
like
drink.
that deep, but it's like, why would you do that?
I mean, imagine just buying anything and then somebody just like fucking punches it out of your hand.
it could
You're
be
like,
groceries.
da-da-da-da-da, and then it's like, oh fuck, like it's gone. My day's ruined immediately. Oh God, what else? I mean, just like a multitude of stories. Training home. God, training after like 11 or 8 p.m. is just really not it. And sometimes I'm like, I'm a New Yorker. Like, I'll just get on the train. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that serious. And then it's like the one time that I'm like, you know what? It's 11:30, 11:45. Like, I'm going to get on the train. And I was with Cameron, so I didn't feel like
Yeah.
super in danger. But we sat on this train and basically there's like two men got into a fist fight like right in front of us. There were slurs flying around and I'm like, my head is like essentially like in between my knees. I'm like, please nobody look at me. Like I'm not hearing anything. Like the slurs are flying and I'm just like, I need to go home. Like where is my...
This was recent, right?
Yeah, this was over my birthday. Happy birthday.
That was not recent. That was like a year ago. That was like over a year ago.
That is so funny. Time is not real. It's almost March. Like
the way I know. No, don't talk to me.
I'm literally closer to my next birthday than I am my last birthday.
And I was like, that was recent. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, with the few minutes we have left, Isa,
yes.
If you were to go back with our podcast journey, I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One, would you change anything along the way? But two, is there any advice that you would give to like ourselves back then or anyone that's looking to start a podcast?
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, that was a loaded question.
Like, whoa.
One.
Okay. I'm going to start with the last two questions. I lied. I'm going to start with the first question you asked me.
Okay.
Can you repeat it though? Because I forgot it.
If you could go back to the beginning of our journey.
Change podcast or anything about just like...
that you would change about our podcast journey in general?
Okay.
And it's okay if not. Like, it's been perfect. It's been beautiful.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna give you the cliche answer of like, I don't think I would change. Actually, no, I don't think I would change anything.
Okay.
There are parts of myself that like look back on older episodes and like older seasons, and I'm just like, I really didn't think about the fact that like everybody on the internet can listen to that. Like kind of what you were saying.
Anytime they want.
Like, you're like, I forget what I even said, and people will bring it up, and I'm just like, oh God, I just imagine the hubbub that was traveling around Michigan when we released that first episode. And everybody's like,
you guys, so embarrassing. That's still our most listened to episode.
yeah, because you're nosy.
Y'all are nosy.
None of the people that actually watch anymore are nosy, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That first episode, they were nosy though.
Yeah, and I went home for the holidays that first year after we had started it, and everybody's like, oh my God, I listened to your podcast. And I was like, really? I haven't spoken to you in like 7 years. That's so interesting that you're listening to my podcast though. But whatever. Thank you. I'll take the fandom. But I don't think I would change anything. Like maybe a little bit of a filter just like would be nice. Because, you know, and I also hate listening back. I love to reflect, but I don't want to listen to those first episodes. I don't need to hear myself, you know. But anyway, so I don't think so. I think that I would keep things as they are because it's gotten us to where we are now. And although we have lots of room to grow and, you know, lots of goals, you know, it's part of the process. Part of the process is being messy and not knowing what you're doing. And I feel like it's cool to know that we've gotten good at what we do based solely on just doing it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like, look at us. We can grow and be better and whatever, you know? Part two of the question.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly to how I just said, I would tell myself to have more of a filter. My advice for my younger self, the person that started this podcast, is like, don't care so much what people think. Like, I mean, that's just my like advice for myself, every version of myself, and my advice for everyone, because it's something that I struggle with so heavily. But it's like, you just can't be your authentic self if you care what other people think about you. Mm-hmm. And so if you're doing a podcast and you're talking about things and you care what every single thing sounds like, you're never going to come off as your authentic self. Totally. And so I feel like the thing that I've learned most recently with the podcast is just how authenticity is like tangible. Like you can feel when someone is being authentic and you can feel when it's like being put on. And I think that sometimes in trying to monitor so much what you're saying or like how it sounds or like how inspirational it sounds, like you lose the authenticity that makes people want to listen to you. So I would say, thank you. I would say like, just be yourself. It's a long, long journey with yourself. And so just be yourself. Mm-hmm. There was a second part to that question.
Yeah, but it was just to either yourself or anyone starting a podcast.
Oh, starting a podcast. For everyone out there, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, just fucking do it. It's literally, it's not easy, but like when you think about it, like it's not like we have any sort of like credits to like, oh yeah, we're super qualified. No, we just were like...
No, we just have a friend who
like connected us. Yeah, and was like, I'll do this for you if you guys just want to like...
helped us set it up. But once he like... It feels so silly now that we were like, we didn't know like what we were doing because it's so easy now to us, you know? Like
100%. So just do it. That's what I would say.
Love.
What about you? Yes, you know the questions.
I do. I literally know I asked this question, so you're expecting like a crazy answer. No, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change a second of it. So cheesy. It is the journey. It is like, yes, it is so hard to watch some of those episodes back, but like without those episodes, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Right.
You know, and like it's those silly bad episodes that like really in the moment we're like, okay, this is what I don't want to do again.
Yeah.
That pushed us to get to where we are today. And again, like I'm not saying we like have all our shit figured out and this is like our peak. Like please, I hope it's not our peak.
God, no.
No, there's so much more to come. But it's just, yeah, I wouldn't change it for a second. Maybe I would tell myself though, kind of combining the two questions, I would tell myself a really bad habit I have found that I have on the podcast is I'm always like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Just because I think that comes from a place of I'm not confident in my own answer. And so I'm always like, does that make sense? Like, am I making sense? And so that's something I'm trying to fix personally.
Come on, awareness.
But yeah, no, just like I've said this before, but reminding myself that we started this podcast for a reason. And my voice deserves to be heard.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't have my shit figured out, but I can share my journey along the way. And I hope that it helps people out in some capacity. And as we always say, this is for the past versions of ourselves, the current versions of all of you.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this gives someone a space to be like, wow, at least, at least there are other people along similar journeys. But yeah, as Isa was saying, start the podcast. If it's something you ever have thought about, it like for me personally, I thought about having a podcast for so long. It was like in college when I moved here, but I never knew how to take that first step.
Yeah.
But once we did, like it was so simple to figure out along the way and so fun, and it brings us so much joy and creativity, and I'm so proud of us, and I'm so happy.
Me too.
With where we are today. So love ya.
Congrats. 2 years.
Congrats. 2 years.
Yeah. 2 years of life is hard. Come on, 2 years of a project.
Please. And like think about all the things we've been through in the past 2 years too. Yeah. It's been a hard fucking 2 years, and here we are.
Yeah.
Still coming back to this couch. And yes, also if I have to say one more thing, give yourself grace. Take a break if needed. Like Isa and I have figured this out so much. Where it's like there are weeks we want to stay consistent with the podcast in the schedule and hit every like single week we're releasing at this time. But sometimes life gets in the way, and that is okay. Yeah. And that is and I can't even say anything else. That's okay.
I have one final thought. I'm so sorry.
No.
TBT's when we started the podcast and we would record for 2 hours. Our first episode was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Who listened to that? Please.
The nosy
bitches
from high school.
And they're like, fuck, this is too long. Yeah, it was too long. But we didn't know what we were doing.
But so many cool things have come out of it. Like hashtag Broadway wannabes. That's such a cute thing that we have from the podcast. Like a place to just go and talk about things that happen in your life is just an amazing little book that we have.
No, I'm grateful to have this platform. And like, I've said it a million times, but like one day we will be little old women, and we will always have this platform to go back to and listen to. And even I guess our kids can listen to it, which is ew. I don't want to think about that.
You're not allowed.
Like, please, I'm not telling them. But it's always going to be a time capsule of our time right now in this city. And I think it's so special and unique that we have this because a lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to everyone for listening.
Thank you so much.
Like we wouldn't do this without people listening.
Very, very true.
So thanks for coming along on the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's been a journey. And if you've been here since day one, seriously, thank you for trusting us.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And thank you so much to our social media manager, Noah Wisniewski, who also is kind of a monumental part of our process. We obviously didn't start the podcast with a social media manager. So that has been a beautiful addition to our team, and he works so hard for us. So thank you for all of your work. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel, which we also didn't have when we started, but we do now. And you can also watch as you listen. So make sure to check that out. It helps if you type in either my name or Riley's, and it just pops up a little easier.
Next week, you guys, it is going to be our season finale. So stay tuned for that. We will be joined by Leah Holt, who is my like strength training trainer.
Yeah, she is.
I spend every Monday, Wednesday with her, but she has a background in theater. She is just such a girl's girl. You guys are going to love her. I can't wait to sit down with her.
It'll be a good one.
If you want to keep up with us on social media, our @ is @notfromhere.podcast. That is NOTFROMHERE.PODCAST. And as always, for 2 years in a row, I am Riley Klauza.
And I am Isa Rodriguez, and we are most fucking definitely
Not from here. Bye.
3, 2, 1.
Wanna